It's time to drift away. Forget the lights, the phone, the noise of the day. You're no longer here. You're somewhere, ancient, somewhere lost in time. You're standing on the edge of a golden river. The sky is red, the air is warm, and the world is quiet. This is the land of the pharaohs. This is Egypt. Egypt, before kings, before pyramids, there was only the Nile. A river that rose and fell. A river that gave and took. Every year it flooded, and when it did, it left behind black rich soil, perfect for growing food, and for building a future. Without the Nile, there would be no Egypt. So the people worshipped it. They sang to it, they feared it, and loved it. The river was life. Over time, small villages formed, then towns, then cities, but they were divided: Upper Egypt in the south, Lower Egypt in the north. Then came a man named Narmer, also called Manus. He wore a crown with two parts, one for each land. He united Egypt, one king, one kingdom, one Nile. He became the first pharaoh, not just a king, but a living god. The Egyptians believed in many gods: Ra, the sun god, who rode a golden boat across the sky; Osiris, god of the afterlife; Isis, goddess of healing and magic; Anubis, the jackal-headed god who watched over the dead. They believed that life was only part of the journey. Death was the beginning of eternity. So they built tombs. They filled them with treasures, food, clothing, everything needed in the next life. Then came the builders. Great kings rose, and they wanted to be remembered forever. They built tombs made of stone that reached for the sky. Pyramids. The greatest of all was the Pyramid of Khufu at Giza. More than 2 million blocks, each one placed by hand. No machines, no modern tools, just people, sweat, and time. It still stands, 4,500 years later. A mountain of stone that touches the stars. But not everyone lived like kings. Most people were farmers. They woke with the sun, worked in the fields, and slept under the stars. They grew wheat, barley, and flax. They made bread, beer, and clothes. Children played in the dirt and helped their families. Scribes learned to write in hieroglyphs. Priests served in temples. Life was hard, but it had order. And order was everything. The Egyptians called it Mat, the balance of the world. Over centuries, many pharaohs ruled. Some were mighty warriors, like Thutmose III, who led armies across deserts. Some were builders, like Ramses II, who built temples covered in statues of himself. And one was a boy, Tutankhamun. He died young, but his tomb was found, full of gold, untouched, for 3,000 years. Then there was Akhenaten, the pharaoh, who changed everything. He worshipped one god, the sun disk Aten, but all were buried in stone, waiting in silence. But when he died, Egypt went back to the old ways. Some pharaohs were loved, others forgotten, but all were buried in stone, waiting in silence. But even the greatest kingdoms must fall. Egypt faced invaders: the Libyans, the Nubians, the Assyrians, then the Persians, then Alexander the Great, and finally the Romans. The temples faded, the pyramids were buried in sand. The gods were forgotten, the writing lost. Egypt was no longer ruled by pharaohs, but by emperors. The old world was gone. But even the Nile could not stop time. Even the gods could not hold back change. Egypt, once proud, powerful, eternal, began to fade. It didn't happen all at once, not with war, not with fire, but slowly, like a candle, burning lower and lower, until only the smoke remained. First came the Libyans. From the west, they crossed the desert and took control. Then came the Nubians. From the south, they worshipped the same gods. They wore the crowns of pharaohs, but they were not the old kings. Later came the Assyrians, fierce warriors from distant Mesopotamia. They stormed into Egypt like thunder. Temples were raided. But even in silence, Egypt speaks. The stones remember. The river remembers. The stars remember. The pyramids still rise from the sand, not as tombs, but as whispers. Whispers from a time long gone. Treasures were taken, and still the pyramids stood, and still the Nile flowed, but the soul of Egypt began to dim. Then came the Persians. They ruled from far away, from golden palaces in Persia. To them, Egypt was a prize, a jewel in their crown. But they didn't understand its heart, its gods, its silence, its sand. Then everything changed. A man came from the west. His name was Alexander. Alexander the Great. He didn't come to destroy Egypt. He came to claim it. And Egypt did not resist. They crowned him pharaoh. He bowed to their gods. But in truth, Egypt was no longer Egyptian. It was Greek. After Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy took over and began a new line of pharaohs. Greek pharaohs. They built temples. They ruled for centuries. But the spirit, the old spirit, was gone. Then came the last, the final pharaoh, a woman, Cleopatra. Wise, strong, clever. She spoke Egyptian, Greek and Latin. She tried to protect Egypt with diplomacy, charm, and strategy, but it was too late. Rome was rising, and Rome had no need for pharaohs. When Cleopatra died, so did the kingdom. Egypt became Roman. No more kings, but never truly lost. You can still hear them, if you listen. Soft footsteps in temple halls. The rustle of linen in the wind. The deep voice of a priest, chanting to Ra. The splash of water as a boat drifts by. You are there now. Not in this world, but in that one. In the warm dusk of Egypt, the sky glowing orange, the Nile shining silver. The sands cool beneath your feet. You walk alone, but the past walks with you. You feel the stillness, you feel the peace, and you know, you are safe, you are calm. You are in the land of the pharaohs, so rest now. Let your mind wander. Let your body sink into the softness of sleep. Dream of temples. Dream of pyramids. Dream of golden boats sailing across the sky. Sleep, in Egypt, where time is quiet, and the past never ends. Good night.